What's going on, guys? My name is Top Ramen Shaman, and today I'm going to be teaching you a few tips and tricks on how to master the Shugoki in For Honor. I feel I have a pretty good understanding on this big guy, and hopefully I can teach you a thing or two. So first off, the most crucial thing you have to learn when playing the Shugoki is how to properly manage your hyper armor and learn when to trade with your opponent. Hyper armor is what allows the Shugoki to trade so effectively, so it's really important that you learn what you can and can't do depending on if your armor is active or down at the time. See, the thing is, guys, don't be afraid to play aggressive when your armor's up, because majority of the time when you trade with your opponent, whether it's a light or a heavy, you're going to be the one who comes out on top. The Shugoki's light and heavy trades may seem simple, but they're without a doubt one of his most useful bread and butter moves that you have to implement in every fight. And also due to the fact that the Shugoki has a confirmed headbutt after a light or heavy that drains your opponent's stamina, most of the time a smart player will always be cautious when it comes to immediately pursuing you again, which gives you time to rebuild your armor and think about your plan for the next encounter. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is how to properly initiate a fight. When playing the Shugoki, you have a few moves to choose from to help you close the gap on your opponent. One of the best things you can do, in my opinion, is rush in and throw out a charge of the Oni, which is an unblockable run that knocks your opponent down for a few seconds. If you manage to land the charge, you can cancel it by locking on, and at this point you have two options to choose from. You can either throw out a heavy attack for a solid amount of free damage, or you can perform a Demon's Embrace if you're close enough, but it's extremely risky because the timing on the grab is super finicky due to the fact that you're essentially trapping the frames it takes them to get up, and if you time it wrong, the hug simply bounces off of their body and you're out, like 2 bars of health, and that can really cost you in a fight. Now, this isn't to say that you should only initiate with Charge of the Oni, because it's actually a super useful move to implement multiple times throughout the fight. I mean, it's simply too good not to utilize. You're basically getting free damage with every knockdown, so why not take it, If your opponent is consistently dodging your charge and you're getting punished for it, at this point, you gotta try and implement a few mind games. And to do this, you can trick them by acting like you're going for a charge, but instead surprise them with a guard break or a light attack into headbutt, giving you a few more options other than just the charge. Another thing that I love to do, especially against assassins like Peacekeepers, Berserkers, Orochis, and a few other classes that love to perform those side dash attacks, is you act like you're going for the charge, you get up in their face, but instead you quickly stop, lock on, and most of the time this will trick them into thinking you're about to charge and they try to go for a side dash attack. But at this point, you're actually ready to parry their attack depending on if it comes from the right or the left, giving you a huge advantage and the ability to go for a free guard break or a light into headbutt to drain even more stamina. So the next thing I want to talk about is how to open up your opponent and how to implement mind games. One great move that I never see Shugokis use enough is his zone attack, which will cause him to lunge forward, swinging from right to left, but the trick is to hit your opponent with the initial first swing and feint the second into a guard break to smack him with a demon ball or throw him against the wall for a guaranteed Demon's Embrace. There's a few other combos that work really well with the zone attack cancel. Those being zone attack into light attack, followed up by the headbutt, and my personal favorite, zone attack into charge of the Oni, which not only gives you that free heavy, but looks pretty fancy as well. Feinting is extremely viable when it comes to the Shugoki. You can easily soft feint his heavy charge swings to fool your opponent to try and parry you, but instead, you're able to turn the tables and parry them if they mess up. Or you can go for a light attack into a heavy, feint the heavy into another light attack in a different direction, giving you that mix-up game you need to really get into your opponent's head. For the most part, when I'm fighting other Shugokis, I only see them throw out just basic single light attacks, which can definitely be effective in certain situations. But if you really want to bring your game to the next level, it's important that you're able to utilize these quick feints and other tactics to try and confuse your opponent just in case simple attacks aren't working out. Another viable option is to simply let your charge attacks rip. You just let them go. It does huge damage and comes out deceivingly fast, and with your other mix-ups, it always allows you to maintain an excellent 50-50 game that'll keep your opponent guessing. It's pretty important to use the Shugoki's charged heavy attacks with caution though, because they are pretty easy to parry if you are going against somebody who knows what they're doing. Another super important thing is properly punishing your opponent when they're out of stamina. As a Shugoki, it's super easy to run your opponent out of stamina with your headbutts, and when they are, that's when the Shugoki shines because of his opportunity to pump out some of his highest damage possible. Once your opponent's stamina is depleted, you're left with a few options to choose from. The first thing you can do is simply hit your opponent with consistent light into headbutts, which will keep knocking chunks out of their already exhausted stamina bar. If you manage to successfully guard break them, you can throw them down on the ground for a guaranteed free top charged heavy, which does absolutely devastating damage. But also consumes a large portion of your stamina as well, so you gotta be careful how you use this because you can easily run yourself out of stamina, and there's a little bit of recovery time on the swing, so if they get up in time you may be open to getting guard broken yourself. Another thing you can do is throw them down to the ground and perform a Demon's Embrace, which is great because it's not only damaging their health, it gives you health back, but it also takes out a small chunk of your opponent's stamina too, giving you time to punish them even longer. After a Demon's Embrace, if you want to be sneaky, you can try and walk away while they're on the ground, and then right when they get up, quickly turn around and guard break them again to go for another Demon's Embrace or fully charged heavy, but most aware players will catch on pretty quickly. Now, the final topic I wanted to cover is if you're up against an assassin like a Peacekeeper who's just relentlessly pressuring you with light attacks, guard breaks, mix-ups, that's when you have to learn how to passively manage your armor, because without it, the Shugoki takes quite a bit more damage, basically rendering him into a glass cannon. What you want to do in these situations is learn to perfect your parry timing, guys. Against these fast characters, you have to know how to parry. It's essential. So when you do parry them, you can either knock them back with a Demon Ball swing, giving you time to regain a little composure, or better yet, if you're near a wall, you can catch the free guard break, throw them against the wall, and score that free Demon's Embrace. If you realize that your opponent is constantly side dashing around you, it's best to just stay calm, and you can throw out delayed light attacks in the opposite direction of where they're dodging, which if timed right, will actually track your opponent's movement for a pretty satisfying hit. So, to wrap everything up, I'd like to share a neat little parrying tactic that works great against assassins. As you can see, you can actually parry an attack from a PK even if you're not guarding in the direction of the incoming attack. This works really well, especially with the Shugoki, considering switching his block stance is so slow. So, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something new from it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.